Hello, this is Melissa in Canada again. I have a video out there on Jane Austen Pocket Classics, and this is Pocket Classics Part 2. When I did my original video, I had these three here, which was Mansfield Park, Emma, and the Northanger Abbey Persuasion volume. I've also received as a gift Sense and Sensibility, and I did at the time have an edition of Pride and Prejudice, but it needed to be rebound. So what I've received is the Sense and Sensibility. This is a Macmillan Pocket Classic, illustrated by Hugh Thompson. All of the Pocket Classics from Macmillan in this series were much smaller duplicates of the Macmillan standard novels, of which Hugh Thompson illustrated the Sense and Sensibility, Mansfield Park, Emma, and the Northanger Abbey Persuasion. These Pocket Classics were rather high-end in that they were available in both cloth and leather, and the pages were all trimmed. I'm not sure if you can see that very well, but the top edges were gilt, and the title pages inside were two color, so they were black and red. This one here still has the frontispiece tissue paper, and this one is dated 1907. The Pocket Classics started coming out in 1902. So these were not just providing a frontispiece illustration, but they were actually illustrated throughout. So they were also quite high-end. In this series, these four volumes were illustrated by Hugh Thompson. The Pride and Prejudice was illustrated by Charles Brockett. I do not have one of those, but what I did come across was a Pocket Classic of Pride and Prejudice published by Thomas Nelson. This one is on my previous video, but it was coming apart in my hand. So I've since had an experience with book rebinding and had this one redone. What they did for me was to provide a new blue cover for it, but also to attach to it the cloth from my original book. So this rear panel here, this cloth is from the original book. This spine that has Nelson and Pride and Prejudice on it is from the original book, and this is etched in here, Pride and Prejudice and Jane Austen from the original book. They duplicated as best as they could the original, if you can see them, the original buff end pages. They let me keep the original for provenance purposes. It has previous owners on it, but they duplicated as best as possible the buff end pages. And you can see inside this edition, there's a decorative title page and the frontispiece illustration. So these ones are shorter. The Thomas Nelson Pocket Classics are shorter than the Macmillan. They don't have any gilding on the edges, and they only have a frontispiece illustration. They're not illustrated throughout. So these were less expensive and only available in cloth. But one thing I did notice about these is how unbelievably easy it is to read this font. You would be surprised with a Pocket Classic that it would be that easy to read. But this is actually a fairly large, generous font. It's very readable, which I found quite remarkable with this book. Near as I can figure, I had this estimated at about 1905, 1906, based on this title here, because around 1912 they changed from Nelson's Classic to the Nelson Classics. So based on the ads in the back, which the book rebinder actually did keep for me, I had estimated this is around 1905. If you have a copy of the Bibliography of Jane Austen by Gilson, as best as I can figure, this is E113 in 1907, but with a blue cover instead of a red. So it must have been a special printing, or it's since been rebound, because this has been rebound using the blue cover that was on it when I purchased it. So those are some options for those looking at Hugh Thompson illustrations or Pocket Classics, or something very small and readable. I recommend that one. Thank you very much.